This is the Podcast of Owls, episode number 16 for the week of June 1st, 2018. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Podcast of Owls, your one-stop podcast for RuneScape quests, lore, future updates, and much, much more. I am your host, Crondis, and today I am joined by Amascut,
Hello.
Avernic,
Hola.
and we have a Walter in the chat. Guys, how did we manage to get late again this week?
You. Just you.
I believe you said no last night.
Oh, you mean date in the week wise?
Yes.
Oh, fine.
Yeah, no, that was both of us then, because we were both tired as hell, man.
I'm always ready.
You're
So
always
is
ready
Walter.
when it's inconvenient.
What? When we have it scheduled?
Alright guys, well this week we have Solak. It is finally here.
So many months later.
Yeah, I know. So much later. I don't believe we have any news this week, so I think we're just gonna jump straight into it. Yeah. Alright, Solak, go.
He's a big boy.
He is,
Very big boy.
he is not the ambassador, funnily
Not
enough.
He's the guardian of the grove. He is a big boss aimed at 7 or 2 people. A group of people, not 7, a group. 7's the best you can do. And he drops tier 92 crossbows and other things. And people are barely getting killed.
Really cool. Like, quite honestly, this is a really cool boss.
It's really cool, but it's hard. I can't even say that from experience because I've refused to try until I have more information. But people are barely getting kills.
Yeah, he's hard as fuck right now.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people on like Twitter and stuff just saying how incredibly difficult he's been. So it's nice to see people having issues for once. Is that something to be happy about? I don't know.
I think so. I'm
It's
happy
to see a boss where after just a day or two, people aren't just getting consistent kills.
Yes, and
Yeah.
this hasn't happened since Yakamaru, which I think is something that we need every once in a while.
Did people not have issues with Telos?
Not really.
Yeah.
Like
Well, remember,
0%.
low percentage Telos was super easy.
Yeah, no, that's true.
The problem with Telos is when you start getting to higher percentages. That's where the challenge comes
Which
from.
at that point is just like prestige and rewards.
Yeah.
But, like, you get the kill no matter what. So, and Magister and AOD, I think things were done within an hour.
Yeah, Magister is a joke, like
Yeah.
difficulty-wise, and nobody had trouble with Magister.
And you can just mass AOD.
I'm pretty sure the first person that went into Magister probably got the kill.
But no, Solak is really hard, and he's really cool mechanic-wise. They promised a story. I mean, it's not like a story, but like there's a progression that makes sense and is really cool to watch play out. Unique mechanics per phase.
I mean, I would say it does tell a story throughout. You're
It's a
seeing the
story
story and you're involved in it, and you're while it's a
ripping
boss fight,
Aerithor
you're
from
also
Solak.
doing something other than just killing a boss.
Right. It's ripping Aerithor from Solak's mind the entire time, weakening
And
the
there's
physical form, weakening the mind.
the fight starts by talking to Merethiel outside of the whole like center part of the grove, and she has a lot to say. Actually, she has a lot of dialogue, very well written, and it goes into a lot of detail about her elven companions, her elven siblings, what happened, where her brother got the stuff that like corrupted him, and it's really interesting.
And then there's 2 other siblings, other than Merethiel and Aerithor. We can't find in game yet, I assume.
Yeah, they have
We also
not
talked
shown
about-
up yet.
But so there's this group of elves, and Aerithor took over Solak's mind, and we're freeing him. So, and the fight is really against Aerithor, not Solak, even though it's against Solak's form, since Aerithor took over his body for his power.
I think we kind of saw that coming though when the Grove first got released. Like, this was going to be less about Solak and more about what happened to him after he ate the elf.
Yeah, I think we all knew that. Like,
It's way more
the whole
versus.
point of the fight was to try and cure Solak,
Right.
not to kill him.
It's way more versus Erythor than I thought, though. I thought it was like you defeat the physical form, it's done. But you have all this mind stuff going on, which is really cool. But I didn't see coming. And I really like.
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting design, and I think it adds a lot of really cool thematics as well as cool teamwork to this boss.
It adds a lot of it's a kind of boss that I'd rather see this than something with a lot of like small like doesn't really matter mechanics happening on. Like
One of my biggest things that I appreciate about this boss is that this is the first one in a while, beyond like the Magister, where somebody really took time to sit down and craft a story for it. Like,
yeah.
there's legitimately a lot of lore built into this, and I think the Magister is really the only recent boss that's happened. Telos.
No.
Telos doesn't have story.
Telos is a
let's not get
fucking
into that
joke
one.
when it comes to story. Even the the God Wars 2 generals, they have their tail, but they don't really have much in the way of story.
The issue with the God Wars 2 bosses is like they were just characters that kind of poofed into existence, and we were suddenly told to care about their story.
My problem with them too is they have their minimal story in the tales, but none of it is relevant as to why they're at the heart. Like there's all these background conflicts between the factions, but then you have the heart, which is the giant anima cache, which everyone's going after. That's never referenced.
The issue with the tales more came with like the generals have issues with each other more than the factions do.
But then,
so
they never say the factions are going to the heart for blah 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 reasons.
Yes, exactly. They just all kind of end up there.
And then going further back than that, they're starting to make quests for these bosses finally, I guess. But yeah, Solak's really cool, and he has some really cool stuff to say after the fight, which I've taken a look at, about things like these giant beings called walkers that used to roam around, specifically in the Grove. They seem to be like ant-like creatures, all of them bigger than Solak, who when they died would form the trees and stuff. Kind of reminds me of the Grand Tree a little bit, which is interesting, but they specifically mentioned...
totally be down if they did that with Grand Tree.
Yeah, I would too.
But they specifically mentioned the big tree in the middle of the Grove, which is the one that its roots go so far down it tapped into and became a source of the world's they specifically say the roots go all the way down and almost make it to the Elder Halls.
So nuts. I don't know if that's like them loosely confirming where the halls are or not.
I think they're just saying like they're at the center of the planet.
Okay.
You're gonna find a way to get there at some point. Yeah. Maybe through this, maybe not. But so it seemed like I don't think they ever like really reconfirmed that Solak is a guardian of Guthix. He's just a guardian of the Grove. Now I'm not sure if it's because they didn't go with that route or because it just wasn't mentioned that Guthix ever said, "Oh, you're here, protect this thing."
Yeah, as far as I can tell, they don't specifically mention that he's a GOG. Exterior to the game, they have said that, but we'll see.
Which then they also never said he was an Anima Guardian either. It's just Guardian.
Good. Please don't be an Anima Guardian. We don't need it.
Basically, none of them.
He's both, or at least he's supposed to be both.
He was mentioned as both beforehand, but he's mentioned as neither after he's come out. He's just basically, from his dialogue, the smallest of the giant walker ents that ended up being the protector of the ones that died and who were causing this anima problem.
But I would actually say he is very well written. I'm impressed.
I am a fan.
And maybe I'm crazy, but like I expected to see good writing from this because Nex Angel of Death had some very good writing in her lore books.
Mm-hmm.
And this was, I believe, that was Raman's last boss.
Yes, that was his last.
But, was that his last boss?
Yes.
Jeez, we've been looking for Solak for a while. Damn.
But no, I'm really impressed. I think the story here is very in depth and very well written, especially from Merethiel.
So
that girl talks a lot in a good way.
She's mouthy.
She's very chatty.
So
boy, do I appreciate it.
A Solak or quest related to all this content has been brought up. What would you guys want to see in something like that?
In a quest?
If a quest were to come out of all of this story.
if I were to get a quest out of the story, I would mostly really be focusing in on what the Grove is, what the fairies are doing there, and then Merethiel's siblings.
Okay.
I think I'd also want to know why the walkers died out.
Okay. Yeah, I think the walkers are a really cool way to go with it. I also think like just seeing Erethdor's descent into how he got here would be really cool. Like seeing his journey to finding all this knowledge, stealing the grimoire, what happened to the pages he ripped out of it, because he carries the grimoire that he used with him, which is because it dropped, but there's missing pages in it. So
I would say the other big thing that I think we would need is where's the other half of the stone?
of the
The stone that contains
The
his spirit.
oh, where's the other half of his mind? I don't know if they still went with the half a mind thing though.
That's in Merethiel's dialogue. So
Oh, it is. Well, that might be. Yeah, I think that could be a big component. But yeah, I'd be happy with the quest with this stuff.
I think this would make for some very interesting questy content, and yeah, I would be a big fan of this. That half the stone thing, by the way, was originally mentioned back when the Grove first came out. If you investigate the whole thingy, the stone, the big like rock thing that has the memory in it.
Gotcha.
Because Solak mentions take that half and do this. The other half of him is in me.
Speaking
So
of that,
that is canon.
speaking of that rock with memories in it, want to talk about the other rock with memories in it?
Yeah,
So,
something that made Fang very happy.
Oh, yes, indeed. So, Ramen is a bro. The Strange Glowing Orb got a new line of, not one new line, but several new lines of interactable dialogue by going to talking to Merethiel while holding it. Ramen, before this had come out, had originally said that the Strange Glowing Orb was basically the stone piece that Erethdor was trapped inside of. Somehow it found its way over to Mazcab. He has since changed his mind. The lines of dialogue that Merethiel have, if using it on her, basically just have her say, "Yeah, I don't know what this stone is. It has some power in it, definitely, but." Then you mention like the whispers and stuff, and she goes, "Oh, I don't hear anything at all."
Yeah.
I'm
And she
a
hasn't
very
even heard of
happy
Mazcab.
Yeah, she doesn't know what Mazcap is.
Yeah.
I'm a very, very happy camper with this.
I think we kind of all
I think
are.
that was a really
Yeah.
weird turn for the story, and he said that the stone's gonna be fully Mazcab related at this point.
Yeah, he said he listened to some podcasts. I'm hoping we were one of them. I'm curious what the others are. And he changed his mind and really wants to focus it as a Mazcabian story. And honestly, that does nothing but just make me happy. Like,
Also makes me
I think
hopeful
this was
for
a very
Mazcab.
unique story. It's a good piece of story that also just has this inherent mystery to it because it involves a plane we still don't know a lot about.
Makes me very hopeful for getting Mazcab stuff
Yeah.
at some point
I
relatively
agree.
soon. Put those extra bosses on there. Maybe a couple follow-up quests to that first one. A little more serious, but some areas with skilling, some stuff like that would be really cool.
Yeah.
Expand that area. Like,
I mean, Mazcab like desperately needs to be filled out. So.
Every
Yeah,
world we've gotten access to needs to be filled out. Just pick one and start going at it with updates.
Like I said on Twitter, I think Mazcab is pretty cool. I think the story and lore behind it is actually very creative and very well written. The problem is just that it's, as a world, feels very empty.
Yeah, the frustrating part is that the updates were stunted. We got the one, and it felt like there were. First of all, it really felt like more than any other world, there was plans for more, and we know there were plans for more bosses and whatnot. And just like every world we get like the small chunk of like 5 map squares, and there's so much more than that. And you pitch this release strategy for the mysterious content of building worlds out update by update, but we could totally do that with just the worlds we have started. And just
I totally agree.
put out an update that releases a mountain for a boss or another town where you explore with a quest or whatever in Mazcab, and piece by piece. So that
Yeah, I want to see more Mazcab content. I think it's got a really quality based story. I think the
Mhm.
world's history is interesting and deep and intriguing.
I wish
And-
the Mascap quest we had gotten wasn't as bleh as it was.
And honestly, I don't think it's that bad of a quest. I know a lot of
It's
people
whatever.
do.
It's a whatever quest.
It's a
fine.
quest that doesn't really do anything. It's inoffensive. I thought the puzzles were cute but easy.
I feel like it tries to set stuff up at the end, but it's really confusing what it's trying to set up.
It's
With
definitely
like-
trying to set something up with Zanocto at the end. The problem is that we never got a follow up.
Yeah.
And the oh, I just lost my train of thought. What did you say, Crondis?
That
Before it was
quest
bleh?
bleh.
Before that.
That was the last thing I said. I don't know.
I guess never mind.
I don't know, but I think it's an all right quest that has a clear start but still needs more.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
think
just
Mascab
felt
as
that
a
the Strange
whole was
Glowing
like
Orb
that.
had better lore than that entire quest, so...
I don't necessarily agree. I think Strange Glowing Orb is fairly underwhelming in terms of like the lore it has right now. But I think it's open to more possibilities, and that's what gets people like me excited about it.
Yes, because in a game that we built up tons and tons of theories with, we were desperately dry for theories where everything was being answered for a while, and we're finally starting to build those back up again.
Indeed.
Probably, yeah.
But we got really far off Solak there, and we didn't even cover the drops. So I guess we should talk. Obviously the crossbows. Don't talk about those. But should we talk about the Grimoire?
Sure.
Yeah, there's actually a couple things to discuss here. So first and foremost, the T92 crossbows. Yep, they're out. They're here.
exist.
They're ready. Go crazy.
Yep. You get
But
those.
yeah, there's a new cosmetic drop, Morethiel's Stave.
Yep.
I don't know why they did that.
Why? Just the cosmetic?
Yeah,
Does that frustrate you?
hugely.
But what about
So
the?
I go to fight this epic endgame
Oh,
boss.
if you got it as a reward, it's an additional reward.
I get this as a drop instead of like a Blightbound. I would probably be furious. Like, just like at KBD when you get the freaking ornament kits, like, how excited are you? The answer is not. You're not excited. In fact, you look at them and you go, I would rather you just didn't drop anything.
I guess
Because now you have to get rid of this item.
I would just start laughing if I got it. If I got like a couple kills and like got that, like, fuck my life.
And it's not that this is a bad looking staff. It's very, very nice looking. But
It's still gonna sell for something because
really,
e-daters will totally eat it up. It'll still
Sure.
sell for something decent. A couple tens of mils.
there's another item called the purple mushroom.
Nobody
knows what it does yet,
No
but
one's
it's
got
dropped by Solak.
Wait, have we found out how to get the what's the name of it? Give me a quick second. The
What I think you're talking about, no, we don't.
The bark shard?
No, not
The bark shard is the boss pet.
the Blightbound Lasher pet.
Oh yeah, dude, that's in the pet inventory.
I know it's in the inventory, but do we know how to get it?
Yeah, it's in the pet interface. Here, let me pull it up here.
It says this pet can be unlocked by completing game content.
1 second.
How descriptive.
I know. But yeah, Perdita.
Oh
which
no,
says,
it was Perdita I was looking at.
that
which
one
is-
we know. The Blightbound Lasher, I think, might be the purple mushroom.
That's what everybody's been assuming, and I agree with that.
It has a purple mushroom on the model, if you look
Well,
at it.
yeah,
closely.
like it would make sense for it to be the Blightbound Lasher.
I'm
quite
curious
honestly.
what Perdita's dialogue is going to be, since he requires 1,000 kills.
Yeah.
I really like that type of pet, though, since they haven't done like.
The answer is the dialogue is probably essentially nothing, much like the Hope Nibbler.
I don't know. It might be something like the Yak dialogue that we just got. That's actually says things.
To be fair, Hope Nibbler is one of my favorite pet names, so...
I
Hope
really
Nibbler
like-
really annoyed me though because Anna promised us updated dialogue with actually something interesting for such a time investment to get it, and then she left the company.
She left.
Uh,
Oh, man.
Anyway,
anyway, so we
there's
one other reward.
2 other things that come from Solak.
Oh, you're gonna talk about the shard?
The gloves.
The gloves come from everything.
Okay, 2 other unique things that are not pets or existing gloves. So the first one is the Aerith Grimoire,
Oh boy.
It is a brand new book item, and I'm hoping we'll be able to read it, but I don't think anybody has it yet.
No, it's been gotten. I don't know if it's readable though.
Oh, but it allows you to restore 15% of a player's total prayer over a minute-long period with a 5-minute cooldown.
So it's a prayer potion on a Excalibur cooldown.
It's kind of bad.
It's not very good. I mean, it's infinite, but it's not.
Every time you use it, you gain 148 whole prayer points back if you're at level 99.
I mean, that's like a free prayer pot sip.
Okay,
That's not even
1,776 prayer points every hour if you use it exactly when it comes off cooldown.
I just found something
boy.
really
Super Prayer Flask on its own contains 2,496 prayer points.
Want to hear something really interesting?
No.
If you get it as a drop, it drops as Erethdor's Grimoire, a token,
Yeah.
which you then sell and claim to get a physical item that's not tradable.
Yes, it's an untradeable item once you have claimed
What?
it.
You can't get rid of it once you try it. Oh
The
boy.
other item that I am very, very curious about is
Oh.
the bark shell.
That's the pet.
No, that's
Which pet?
the bark
That's-
shard is
That's
the
the
bit.
boss. That's the best. Oh, the shell. Oh, that's the item in the database. That's not on the drop log though.
The imbued bark shard is the pet.
Yeah,
The
but
bark shell is an item that has turned up in the Grand Exchange database, does not have a noted form, is probably tradable, but I don't know. It's interesting.
yeah, no one knows. But I don't think.
I'm
it's not
thinking you
drop.
have to use it with the purple mushroom in order to make the pet, because it
Maybe.
says it looks like something goes in here as the examine
Okay.
text.
I don't know where you
and-
get it though.
That's the challenge.
Yeah.
Because the purple mushroom also, if you go look at the blight brown lasher pet, it looks like some kind of weird like animal creature with a mushroom attached. So what if you attached it to the shell?
Some weird animal creature. You can tell exactly what it is. It's just a reskinned vine.
Vine crawler? Oh,
Vine
sorry.
crawler,
On my version of the game right now, its body is just this very like
Oh,
squeezy, I can't see shit.
yeah, it's an ethereal vine crawler.
Oh well, I can't see anything on it, but
That's unfortunate.
yeah. But yeah, like I'm thinking that this bark shard or whatever it is might be half of the way that you need to make this new pet.
Huh. Well, we'll have to figure out.
Indeed.
Well, that's I think most of everything with Solak, other than the conversations that have been going on about the Reaper title.
Yeah, so I guess we gotta get into this about Comp-Cape.
A little bit. Let's go down the
Shenanigans.
rabbit hole.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, we've talked about this in extent before, that I think we all have issues with how the Comp-Cape is handled right now.
It needs the rework.
And
but I'd
also
like-
have issues with the way the community reacts to having shit added to the Comp-Cape.
Yes, I'd like to start with a post that Ramen put on. Let me find it. It's on a forum thread. It's 25 pages long, so give me a second to find the right page.
Oh boy, 25 pages.
I will find the. He posted, and he said, the boss has been out for, at this point, 26 hours, and people haven't figured it all out. We've had this argument when Yakamaru came out, we had it when Telos came out, and when AOD came out. This will be no different. Don't get me wrong. I understand you, and we do hear you. The conversations about removing Reaper from Comp-Cape aren't just fluff. It's not the case of just deciding, yeah, let's just remove it. It's not the case of we're just keeping it. Time and thought's be gone into it, and they're considering it. They're heavily considering it, but we need the Comp-Cape rework, and it's not just going to get removed because people complained. And it's not just going to get removed because they put out a Reaper cape that has the same stats as it.
I just
There's a
cannot
deeper
get
issue here.
behind the mindset of someone who is like, I have my cape, the completionist cape.
It's
How
called the
dare you
completion
make
cape.
me do more content to keep wearing this completionist cape?
It's not even like a grind. Like I mean, it's a grind to get the first kill, but it's not like a grind of kills. It's one kill.
It's one kill.
And I get it's hard. I do get it's hard. I haven't attempted it, and people have been upset, and people are watching streams and getting discouraged. But things get easier over time with new items. Strategies get developed. It's a part, like, the game gets harder. The game doesn't have a threshold that says it stops here. But part of the comp issue is that people feel that they should get this item, whether because it's the most stats, or because it's the prestige of it. And that mindset has to be overcome a little bit. There should be a threshold of a place where all players should be able to get to and say they did the game at this point. And maybe this should be past that. But that comes with the comp rework of saying this threshold of rune score says you've earned the best reward that you can get that's not cosmetic. And then throw cosmetic things after it. Or something like the best way to do it's gotta be through rune score, right? Like, they implemented the system.
Okay,
Tracks percentage.
yes, but we still run into the issue of the comp cape being the best in-slot cape.
That's the other issue.
Like, this is where it all completely stems back to, is people are like, you are taking away my best in-slot item.
The fact that that's a PVM item requires so much not PVM shit.
Like, it does not need for any reason to be the best in-slot cape, period.
We need... You've said nerf it to max cape.
I say it needs to go to max cape stats, and anything above that is just cosmetic upgrades.
That's solution, but people are gonna hate the nerf. So the other thing
people hate it anyway. Who cares?
That might be it. But we don't touch the cape slot like ever. We touched it with Fight Kiln. We touched it with Leviathan cape.
And Abomination.
We don't touch it because the Abomination, which is super rare. We don't touch it because comp cape exists. So we have to get past that mindset and start releasing capes that are nichely better in certain directions, or just straight up better, that people can go for these capes that are better and not have to like fixate on the comp cape. It's a reward space we're not even using. If you make a boss and you're worried about like putting a tier 95 whatever on it, throw a good cape on it and make that the goalpost or something like that.
Yeah.
And then you can even do like the combination thing where if you have that cape, throw it on the prestigious cosmetic comp cape and have the stats like old school does with their max cape. But don't just have it unlocked for doing all this, everything in the game. And there's so many things we could say about it, and mindsets and ideologies of what it should be. But really, Ahmad just needs to sit down, put 2 months into it, and set the guidelines. Say like, if you have 75% of the current rune score, you get the best utility-wise cape. Everything past that's cosmetic, or something, a number that they determine is accurate. Right now, comp cape requires so few that it's kind of laughable.
Yeah.
But they need to set the guidelines. They need to implement it. They need to say, this is this. It's going to go up with each update, and you're going to deal with it. And it's a moving goal. State it's a moving goalpost. It's not you get it and you're done.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely need to just lay down the hammer and say, this is how we're going to take it.
They've said guidelines before, but like literally a month later, they stopped adding requirements because people were yelling on Reddit all the time.
Well, and yeah, and then you get issues with like Minifos where they gave people like 3 months to do it.
The amnesty's a thing they could do if it's in the guidelines. It's a thing they couldn't do. Like they're doing all these weird methods as well.
I don't know. I can't get behind the mindset of not wanting to do things. But
if anything, the comp case needs more requirements and to be less useful.
It definitely, regardless of the way it goes, I still think it does not need to be best in slot.
I think my first thing I would do is rename the cape.
No, I mean, it can still be the completionist cape.
If you have the completionist cape, put it at the very end of the rune score achievements. But whatever the cape that you assume that everyone can possibly achieve, whatever that goalpost is, it can't be called the completionist cape. It's called the good enough cape.
The good enough cape.
You've met par.
You're almost a completionist cape.
Close enough. As far as we expected you to go. I don't know. The comp rework has to be a thing. And to tackle this issue, no single issue about removing group PVM bosses or removing Reaper, moving to a different... Like, the solutions I've seen that have said, well, if the solution is just make a cape that's just PVM, make it like the Reaper cape, and then slowly on the side, slyly they try to put and also remove Reaper from Concave. Like, that's not the solution.
No, it's not.
It's and this is a rabbit hole. You can go
Yeah,
down
I
this
mean,
forever.
it's you can, and that is half the issue, is that you can go on this discussion for
And you can argue every
hours.
which way.
Exactly.
It's a purely ideological thing too. What you envision it as. That's why there needs to be guidelines.
Yeah.
All right.
Was there anything else we wanted to talk about? I think you wanted to get into mining and smithing with the pickaxes.
Oh, really quick.
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah. So Jack has been talking about the pickaxe design on the Discord, the mining and smithing channels in the Discord, the official RuneScape Discord. He posted out 2 weeks ago a design about how he wanted to rework the currently existing special pickaxes, Dragon, Crystal, and Kando, to fit what is going to be. The rework is going to introduce pickaxes that are way easier to obtain, that technically have up to tier 90 stats. For a pickaxe has a penetration stat, a sharpness, like stuff like a strength stat, stuff like that. So he had found a good way to use these special pickaxes and their interesting requirements on them. Like Crystal requires the harmonic dust, and Kando requires Birthright of the Dwarfs and the lava flow. So he decided that the base pickaxes, the Orichalcum, the Necrite, the Bane, and the Elder Rune, which are super easy to obtain, are all just not augmentable. They do everything that the regular pickaxe. They have the same stats as a tier 90 pickaxe, or tier 80 or tier 70, tier 60, but you can't augment them. And the special pickaxes are the ones you can augment. So starting at Dragon at level 60, you can augment that instead of the Orichalcum. And initially it went in Kando Crystal and then a final combination one, but it ended up switching so that Crystal is now the lower one. I think the initial thought there was everyone has Crystal, so why not make it the current best in slot pickaxe the best in slot then? But the reality is, Incanto is just harder to get. No one gets it because it's useless at this point.
Yeah.
But if Incanto and Crystal are on the same playing field, besides what level pickaxe it is, I think people will go for it. And either way, the final augmentable pickaxe is a combination of the Crystal and Incanto. So you need it for tier 90 no matter what.
Right.
So currently it goes Dragon, Crystal, and Kando. It was initially called the Pick of Earth and Tree, but someone suggested, and I think people hooked onto the Pick of Earth and Song to represent Earth being the Dwarven and Kando, and Song being the Elvish Crystal.
Yeah.
So, and energy,
I'm slightly happy they're going like with two different branches of pickaxes this way, because
it incorporates everything.
Well, yeah, and it's like I know people were having issues with them like basically just getting rid of crystal pickaxes in the original draft of.
Right.
So,
and then it was just like it was an ambiguous upgraded crystal
right,
pickaxe,
and you know it's
which no one knew what it was.
Exactly. So it's just one of those things. Like I'm glad they're taking it in this direction. I'm really happy.
I'm glad they're making Kando relevant, because it was supposed to be a big reward and it ends up being totally useless.
Well, I mean, it was useful for a while because it was just Dragon plus benefits. But then Crystal came out. Then Crystal came out like not much long later, so it was like, oh god.
Yeah. Wait, didn't Crystal come out first?
No.
Okay.
Do not believe
I'm
so.
misremembering that.
I believe Mkando came first, because I remember breaking down my Mkando to get Crystal.
Oh, so, yeah. Okay, yeah, I remember that too. But I ended up remaking Mkando eventually anyway. So it's called the final pickaxe, tier 90, with tier 90 penetration and whatever. On par stat-wise with the Elder Rune. It's called the Pick of Earth and Song at this point. Augmentable, and it is actually an invention item. So you have to have invention unlocked to combine the two pickaxes. I don't know what level you need to combine them. That hasn't really been decided. He said he might post something soon, but it's a really small doc. He's not sure how important it would be on Reddit or anything. But the important thing to think about here in terms of the mining and smithing rework is the penetration stat.
Yeah.
So the way penetration works is that rocks also have a hardness, and if your penetration isn't at least good as the rock's hardness, you're not going to do any damage to the rock at all, and not going to mine at it. And the way things are currently statted is you need the tier before it at least to damage a rock. So you need tier 80 at least to damage a tier 90 rock. So Crystal Pickaxe will not work, since it's tier 70 in this design, will not work on Light and Dark Animica. So people will not be able to mine the best ore with the crystal pickaxe on launch. They will have to either work up through the new pickaxes or a Calcum Necrite Bane Elder Rune, or they will have to have an Imcando or just combine or have the Imcando and combine it with their crystal.
Yeah, this is an interesting way to take it because it's like it's forcing you to use more than just one pickaxe at all times.
Yeah.
Although I'm guessing Pick of Earth and Song is going to have less penetration than Elder Rune would have. So it'll be like slower if you're mining Animica or just no, just Animica. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just Animica at this point.
Yeah.
But either or.
Yeah, I forgot that they took away the Elder Rune or
either
or funny. Yeah,
I
I assume it would just be slower, but you have the benefit of it is augmentable. So
yeah.
yeah, I mean it's a good way to diversify. I like it.
The design philosophy behind making people go get Imcando is that they have access to the entire spectrum of ores through the base pickaxes, but he doesn't mind putting giant requirements. You have to move mountains to get the best ones, the ones that are augmentable.
Right.
So I'm very happy about that, like making people really work for those best ones instead of just being like, here, Elder Rune's just as good. Have fun.
Now, real question: how many people do you think don't know that Imcando exists?
I bet you the completion rate of Birthright of the Dwarves is in the 30% range. It's low. It's really low. So that's going to be a rush. But everyone's going to be at lava flow when they realize. I mean, it's going to be announced, but no one's going to read it or comprehend what it actually means that Crystal's only tier 70.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's what it is now. It's basically just not changing. You're just
right.
it's not changing at all. You're just giving it a penetration stat.
The thing is, it's no longer best at pickaxe. It's now third best.
Yeah.
Pickaxe.
I mean, they're gonna have to learn that. But
and no one's gonna comprehend that penetration's a thing that actually matters here.
Why can't I hit this rock? It won't let me.
There's a bug. The rock's HP is not going down when I hit it. So that'll be fun. Also, a thing to note really quick is that since Imcando had that ability before smelting things, he mentioned that, and I think Crystal had the ability that it was really good at getting right strange and golden mining rocks. Apparently had a buff that no one really paid attention to. He said things like those that were buffs have been removed, but some of them will come back in invention perk form for these augmentable pickaxes. So that'll be really interesting. You get like the smelting one on, you can just put anything.
Yeah.
And he also said that he totally sees that pickaxes get better than the Pick of Earth and Song, like for rewards for content and upgrades to them and quest rewards and whatever. So there's more space because there's more space to play with the penetration values, the strength values, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it's not going like, here's a new pick that's even better. I would like it to be upgrades. Personally,
it might be upgrades. It might be like.
I mean, unless they release like a T95 pick or something.
They might say, here's a pick that requires tier 90 for mining, but it has tier 95 strength but tier 85 penetration or something like that. They're releasing all the base penetration strength values, but they're open to playing with them like the God Wars Dungeon 2 weapons play with them.
Yeah.
So I think that's really interesting too. So yeah, that's just some small news he's given. It's a small group of people talking about it. Granted, very passionately they're talking about it, but like I said, it's not like a big community thing at this point in the early design of them.
Right. But yeah, I'm overall pretty happy with how this is coming out with the pickaxes. So.
I really am too.
All right. Well, I think that is it. Did you have anything else?
I think other than the one cryptic tweet that Orion tweeted out, the Dragonkin language.
Oh yeah, we think he's probably hinting to something with the second.
He's definitely like hyping up Elite Dungeon too.
Yeah, I mean he's basically on Elite Dungeon hype at this point. It's what next month, or this month now, since I guess it's almost technically June.
This month is Elite Dungeon 1. This one definitely looks like Elite Dungeon 2. Crystorius Doskreet, since it's Dragonkin.
Yeah, it's Dragonkin, so more than likely.
Surrender to the darkness.
That reminds me of the attack quote from Vanstrom.
Yeah, didn't he say that exactly?
No, he said, what was it?
Succumb?
Succumb to the darkness? I don't know, something like that.
Maybe.
Something stupid.
But yeah, it's very. I mean, we know Elite Dungeon 2 is coming with Dragon graphical reworks. You know, the map said there are labs in this dungeon, so I assume Dragon.
Yeah.
Something with like the dragon can set up in the temple from Pieces of Hate, stuff like that going on, like the mirror called Zautak to the world or something.
Yep.
I'm very excited for the Zautak story stuff we're about to get with Elite Dungeons.
I am too. As much as, you know, Solak's story was good and all, I know I'm going to be a bit biased, and so yeah, I'm more ready for Elite Dungeons. Sorry.
I did not expect to like Solak stuff as much as I did, but then again, I think I was just like underestimating bosses in general. Like things come along, like boss stuff comes along. Like Yakimar was my favorite boss before. Like I really like the mechanically heavy ones, especially like the group ones where it's like different roles and stuff like that going on. I'm just a fan of how that all comes together. And I kind of forgot that those kind of bosses can exist, like Yakimar, like Araxor, or stuff like that. Since we had Massable AOD or Magister, was just like the solo one.
Honestly, I'm just so like burnt out on just straight bosses. Like that's why I'm kind of really excited for Elite Dungeons. Is like it's not just
I can see that.
It's not just a boss. Like it's not just like, here's this new thing you can now fight, whether their story or not is up in the air or not. But
I think that's the hype we got for Mazcab.
Yeah, exactly. And then we didn't get it. Yeah, I know. Thanks.
And then it stopped. Meanwhile, we have Elite Dungeons where they're promising fast iteration sequels.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, the it looks of decent length, but it's only 3 bosses, which is probably not like a raid length. But if you put all 3 Elite Dungeons back to back to back, it's a full length raid plus some.
Yeah. So, I mean, if this turns out being better raids than raids, then
the fact we're getting more bosses on actual raids.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not even it's not top tier content, so it's going to get all that engagement, and it's still going to be. I think it'll still be really interesting, like narratively, mechanically.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be
that like I said, that's why I'm more excited about it. Is I'm just so burnt out on here's a new thing you can fight. I'm ready for something new.
I'm excited to also see what the rewards are, because there's got to be a big collection of them for all these different bosses and the new dungeoneering shop and yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, I think that is everything. So let's get on over with the rest of the show. All right, Avernic, did this change your update of the year?
I don't think so. I've gotten more. I mean, okay, biased because I haven't really tried it out, and I'm mostly scared. I know
I'm mostly scared.
I've watched streams.
You know, practice mode. Practice mode exists. You can try it that way.
It'll cost supplies, but people take hundreds of deaths that are really good at PVM. I am not very good at PVM. I would not ever finish it, so that's why I haven't really given it a go. But those pieces, like, I'd say I got more engagement out of something like the Clue Scroll update. I think that was more geared towards. Should we gear this towards us though? This update of the year thing?
I think
a little bit.
I mean, it's our opinions on what the best update is. So obviously, someone out there is going to think that Solak is better than Pieces of Hate, but I don't think we are going to say that.
Right. I think that this Pieces of Hate was equally well executed, a little more up our alley, and I think the narrative was a little more, not stronger, but there was a lot more there to sink our teeth into. There was a lot more development there. Pieces of Hate is just still a really good quest, and Solak is really good. I'd still say at this point, top 5 updates of the year, and we're halfway through the year, but still Pieces of Hate for me.
Yep, same. All right. Well, I believe that is all we have to discuss this week. I think we lost Fang at some point.
Should we bring up real fast how there was no A Taste of Hope playthrough?
I mean, no.
No, okay.
I mean, we're gonna put it up, so yeah. Okay. We've Avernic went through and played A Taste of Hope, and he's got a little thoughts on it.
Yeah,
So
I
that should be
died for
going up
3 days.
either. Let's see, the podcast will be out on Friday, so I think I'll probably put it up Saturday.
Yeah, I died for 3 days straight, so I couldn't actually do the full playthrough unless there was a lot of cursing and whatnot.
Yeah, we
So-
didn't want to put it up this week because we knew everyone would be super
Yeah.
interested in Solak stuff, and it just wasn't worth competing. So
But I finally got the quest done, made a little video on it, some footage of what happens in the quest for those interested in.
Yep.
Yeah, just see that soon.
yeah, so that'll be out this weekend, and I believe that is all. So thank you guys for watching. This has been the Podcast of Owls, episode number 16, and we will see you guys next week.